Give me a D and a G. It's the Dawg and Gus Show. It's the Dawg and Gus Show.
Hey, coffee lovers, Dawg here to tell you about our favorite new brew, Green Army Coffee.
That's right, Dawg. Green Army Coffee isn't just delicious, it's coffee with a mission. They're veteran-owned, and every cup supports those who serve.
You can taste the dedication in every roast. Whether you're fueling up for the day or winding down, they've got the perfect blend for you.
And it's not just great coffee, it's a way to give back. Supporting Green Army Coffee means you're supporting our troops and their families.
So what are you waiting for? Grab a bag, sip smart, and support a great cause.
Check them out at www.greenarmycoffee.ca. Green Army Coffee, brewed for those who serve. Hey, Dawg, your beard's looking flickin' great, my man.
Thanks, Gus. I've been using the Bush Beard Wash.
The what now?
At Bush Beard, they know that every man with a beard is a unique beardo. And that's why they offer a wide range of products to cater to every beard's needs. Whether you have a long and luscious mane or prefer to keep it short and sharp, their products will help you achieve that perfect look.
From the nourishing beard oil and balm to the refreshing beard wash, their products are made with all-natural local ingredients to keep that beard healthy, soft, and lustrous. The beard comb and brush are designed to detangle and shape your beard, making sure you always look your best.
At Bush Beard, they're dedicated to providing the best possible grooming experience for all the beardos out there. So why settle for an average beard when you can have a glorious, well-groomed one? Try Bush Beard products today and unleash the full potential of your beard.
Be sure to use Dawg and Gus 10 and get 10% off your order.
Bush Beard, the small-town brand with the big old Canadian heart. Welcome to the Dawg and Gus Show.
What's up, Dawg?
Not much, Gus. You?
Oh, just living the dream,
Yes, sir.
Doing a podcast with my friend, having a new friend on the show. Who do we got going?
We got Rachel. Is it Dara or Dara?
It is Rachel Dara.
Rachel Dara, how are you?
I'm great. Nice to meet you both. Thanks for having me on.
It's our pleasure. Thanks for joining us and spending an hour with us. We're looking forward to this.
I'm looking forward to this too.
Yeah, we'll pop right into it. I mean, I was listening to the Next Big Invention, which is your EP, or is it an LP?
It's an album.
Yeah, it's a full LP. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I'm good. I hope so. But it's really great. I actually really love the song "Young and Alone." It was interesting. Yeah, I was really I was vibing with that one. But definitely. So tell us a bit about that process and how did that come about? Like, were you writing for a long time and then put it all together, or was it kind of a fast
crazy
situation?
Story? So
let's do it.
This was like a pandemic project. I've been writing for pretty much my whole life. I've been writing since I was 9 years old, constantly. I decided one day I want to be a songwriter, so I just started writing songs, and I never really took it seriously until the pandemic hit, when I was very isolated. And when you put a 13-year-old alone in a room, like, bad things could happen, but I decided to pick up a guitar and write songs. And so I just knocked out just 2 songs a day for about a year. I just was writing and writing and writing. And those 8 songs are basically a summary of that 2-year-long period of my life, as my growth as a songwriter and as a person. And those are my favorites, I would say. I mean, there are a few actually that are not on that album that we're getting off track here, but that I'm going to be releasing eventually and that have been recorded. But on this particular album, I have 8 tracks. It's called The Next Big Invention, and there's a title track on that album. And I got a call from my friend Tim Steinruck, who's out in Vancouver. This was back in 2021. And he said, "Hey, I know a booking agent whose name is Don Coleman. He lives in Moncton, New Brunswick. And Don knows a guy by the name of Mark Howard, who is more than just a guy. He's a worldwide known record producer who has worked with people like Joni Mitchell and U2, and people who I didn't know of until I met him, and I didn't realize how cool that experience was until after I did it. But basically, Mark was looking to record an album with a young artist who hasn't really done anything yet, and reached out to Don and asked Don to find people. Don reached out to Tim. Tim reached out to me. And cool thing about this is Mark is based out of Nova Scotia, or was based out of Nova Scotia. Don was based out of New Brunswick. Tim is based out of BC. And I'm based out of Montreal. So this was like, we went all over the country here. And so my dad and I ended up driving 18 hours across Canada to record this album in 2 days with Mark. And I spent, like I said, 2 days in studio, knocking out song after song after song. And the only thing that was fueling me was Twinkies. Like, it was such good motivation. Like, because I kept on getting distracted because I have this 1939 microphone in front of me, and I'm so excited about it that I'm not going to record my music. So I just kept on eating Twinkies, and that motivated me to get my music out. So everything that you just listened to, that was fueled by Twinkies. They should sponsor me. Honestly, I don't know if they're going to listen to this, but they should.
They should. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say Twinkies because that's my nickname for my twin girls. So there you go.
Really? That's so funny.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, off topic again, but that's okay. We're going to be on and off topic all night.
Is there a topic?
Yeah. Music.
There's no topic. This is no the topic.
Rachel's
the topic.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hot topic is the topic.
Yeah, whatever you want to go, to Twinkies, to recording, to whatever. We're here.
But that's cool how it kind of all came together. It's amazing how the world is now because you can do that where it's all over the country, which is a big, large place. So it's very interesting that you went back and forth with those types of people in different time zones. And it's just amazing. I love that.
Yeah, it was really cool. The experience itself, like spending a week in Cape Breton, that was fueled by music, and that was like solely a music trip, was huge. And it was also funded by my music, which was insane because throughout the pandemic, while I was writing these songs, I was also playing on live streams, kind of similar to these podcasts, but I was playing what I called COVID concerts every single Saturday. And I found out that, and you're Canadian, so I can tell you this, found out that at the time SOCAN was doing a program where, because everything was shut down, artists who were performing live on any sort of live streaming platform could receive funding. And I applied for it, and I was accepted. So honestly, if it wasn't for this country, if it wasn't for Canada, I sound super patriotic right now.
It's great.
If it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for SOCAN, if it wasn't for the people I met through those live streams, through technology and all, I wouldn't have ended up in Cape Breton recording that album that you just heard that I put out 3 days ago.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, that's what we like about this because we're sitting here in Ottawa and you're in Montreal and we're having a chat about Cape Breton.
That's right.
Exactly.
Nothing more Canadian about it.
That's as Canadian as we get there.
That's about it.
Talk about it.
Talk about it.
Talk about it. Exactly.
Nicely done. Nicely done.
It's nice that Cape Breton was involved because I have family down that way. So we like Cape Breton.
Nice. Oh, yeah. I love Cape Breton. I'd love to go back. I think one day when I retire in this economy, I don't know if we can do that. If and when I retire, I'll end up living in Cape Breton.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
No more saying if though. Okay.
No, just when.
When.
If when. Let's hope when.
No. Let's hope.
No. Just believe. Believe.
Okay. I gotta happen. I believe in the music, but at the same time, like okay, I'm going to stop myself. I keep on saying if. When I do retire, when I think of retirement, I think of like blue collar job kind of retirement. But when you're a musician, you never truly retire. You just do it for your whole life. So that's my if there.
There you go. That's okay.
Fair. It depends on the type of retirement I end up doing.
When you're a big star, and you can decide where you want to live, you decided that you're going to live in Cape Breton when you're a big star.
I appreciate it. I just do it for the music, but
that's what you should do. You should do it, but that'll all lead to exactly where you're going to be. So that's it.
I'm just going to let the universe see what it wants to do and keep my hopes high, expectations low, and I just got to keep doing it. Like, there's no use in waiting for it to happen. You got to work for it, but you can't expect it to happen. And I've had many good people tell me that, and I'm very grateful for the people who I've met who have told me that.
Yeah. And you're going to meet more. You're going to meet more.
Hey, I'm meeting them right now.
You just met two more.
True. Yeah, exactly.
I just met two more.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they both
Our
have
advice is always good.
What's that?
Our advice is always good.
Well,
I don't know. I'm sure it is.
It's positive. How's that? Positive
Positive is good. We always need more positivity.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So now with the album out, is there a tour in the works? Are you planning to tour some of this lovely nation of ours?
So I'll be playing some festivals in the summer. I would consider that a mini tour. I just got booked for the West Island Blues Festival twice as a headliner here in Montreal. And that's huge for me because first off, I'm playing a show with a band, which I've never done before. Like with a band backing me up. That's like this is an artist me talking. This is little girl me talking who can't believe that I'm actually doing this. And I'm also going to be playing some festivals out in the States, out in the New York area.
Nice.
Cool.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah. I can't really say much about that yet, but
that's okay.
I can tell you that, and I can tell you that I'm very excited about that.
That's awesome. Yeah. There's some comparisons to you and Joni Mitchell. Is that kind of a crazy thing for you? Because even though you didn't know who that was or U2 was, which is crazy to Dawg and I, but that's cool. It's nice to it's fresh ears on new stuff. But Joni Mitchell is like a Canadian legend.
She is
musician, artist, like composer. Like she's just one of our favorites for sure. So that must be like surreal to hear that, right?
It is surreal, especially now knowing who she is and knowing what she's done. The fact that, like, in the beginning of my career, someone who's so accomplished, who knew her personally, compared me to her is huge. And I still haven't fully processed it. It's very cool. It's an honor.
Yeah, it would take a bit, I think. And like, wow, especially at such a, and I'm going to harp on it a lot because I'm old and you're young, but at such a young age too, right? Like just to be, it's like, that's incredible. And to get,
I appreciate it.
And to get this person to help you with the album who's been involved with Joni Mitchell and U2, it's wild. It's not a bad place to start.
Yeah.
It was a wild experience. It was honestly, I don't think I'll ever get close to having such a soul awakening experience like that moment. I have so many stories from that trip, and I could write another album about that trip itself that week.
Why don't you
start writing?
Yeah, she probably has. Well. She probably has started already. It seems like you have great support there too. So as a kid, like you're young, but certainly you started as a young person to get into writing and stuff like that, like kind of comparable to Mozart actually, but the
whoa,
because of the age. That's the but where's the music love come from? Like, are your parents into music? Is there some people that are in your life that you're into music?
My parents are not musicians. My grandparents are not musicians. I recently found out that my great-grandfather was a cantor in like the 1800s. That I had no clue of. But otherwise, my immediate family isn't music. Like they're musically educated, as in they know a lot about like being a fan, but they never learned to like play instruments and stuff. I just really loved listening to music growing up. My dad used to sing me The Spanish Train by Krista Berg every night before bed. It used to scare me so badly that I used to make it into a game and play it at elementary school, and that game ended up getting banned from my elementary school. So it was a huge influence on me. And I also grew up listening to a lot of opera, which is weird because opera isn't necessarily my expertise, but my mom and my grandmother used to play me Jackie Evancho and Andrea Bocelli every night before I went to sleep on a CD player. I couldn't sleep without it. This was before the Spanish Train era, though. Like, era of my life, not era of time. But, so there's that. I was very big into Alvin and the Chipmunks. I know this sounds really random, but they're the people who got people. They're the chipmunks who got me into songwriting. They taught me what songwriting was, because I didn't really know how songs kind of became songs, but they explained to all of us little people watching on their big screens how to write a song, and I took it and started doing it myself, and that's basically how it came about. I was a diehard Katy Perry fan. She's awesome, and I grew up listening to mostly pop, and then at 11 years old, I discovered Billie Eilish. And here I am. We'll put it that way.
That's awesome.
I want you to do it in concert one day and thank the Chipmunks.
I will.
Thank Theodore and Alvin and
I will.
Simon for their influence.
I'm going to thank them personally.
Yeah, right up there with Billie Eilish and Katy Perry.
Yeah,
I think I've done that before.
I think that's awesome.
That's
Thank
good.
you.
Yeah. Well, it's very cool that that's where it comes from, because it's true. They definitely had some hits.
Yeah,
Chipmunks, So,
they did.
Yeah,
they really did.
TV series, man.
Yeah, they were rolling.
Yeah,
movies.
I haven't seen their TV series. I should probably binge watch it. I mean, I don't really have much time to binge watch anything, but I might as well when I do have the time.
Between school and being a rock star.
You're too kind.
Sorry, is it rock star or pop star? Which one would you rather be?
I'd go with folker.
Folker, nice.
I'm a folker.
Folker.
A folker.
So, that's good.
Cool.
What song was the most difficult for you to write?
So here's the thing. I heard you ask this on someone else's interview, and I thought about how I would respond. And the only way I can respond is if it's truly difficult to write, I'll forget about it and you won't hear it. Because every single song on that album and every single song that I have on my upcoming EP and as singles that are hush hush, fully mixed and mastered right now, just flew out of me. But I will say, off of the album that you've heard, the most difficult song to write emotionally was probably Noe's Birthday Party, because I wrote that about my own experience, like very personal experience, and it was something that I tried to forget about. And I remember sitting there with that ukulele, because that's a ukulele song, just absolutely like destroyed with what I wanted to write, because I didn't want to think about what I wanted to write, but it kind of just forced me to think about it and to put it into words. And I remember like crying while writing the song. So it wasn't difficult to write physically, but it was difficult to write emotionally, in the way that it's not something that you want to think about. Going back to a specific experience where you're taunted and told things that you didn't think you'd be told as a 7-year-old is very hard on the heart.
Yeah, I mean, but it's funny that you say that, but pain does bring great art, and I think that's I'm sorry to bring that up, but it's sort of I think that when you release it as your own experience and through art, it's usually taken as one of the better ways of creating art. I would say. Would you agree, Dawg?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
It's as a songwriter, yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I understand,
like songs that you've listened to over the years,
but it's cathartic too, right? Because the worst thing that you can do is keep it inside. And as an artist yourself, like a singer songwriter, I honestly, if I could do that, I would do that as well, and just put it down to paper and put it out there, and then hopefully it makes you feel better about it, talking about it and getting it out there, as opposed to keeping it deep down inside here and just letting it eat away at everything.
Yeah. I wish someone would have told me that when I first started writing songs, because I feel like there would have been such good songs that could have come out if I wouldn't have threw it all away. But now, since I really, really do this, I just write anything that my mind tells me to write. If I feel the need to write it, and if I have an idea, I'm gonna let it out, even if I'm like, oh no, this is just not something that I could put out right now. That's okay. I'll save it for later. I'll be 30 one day, and like I could put out songs that just fit with that era and not the one right now. Which is why I save everything. You gotta have an archive somewhere. Archive. How do you pronounce that word? Archive. I've been saying archive, and people are like, "What?" It's
French.
Archive.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It happens. I'm actually English is my first language, but I come from Quebec.
I know.
So I guess you could
West Island's pretty English, so I know it's.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not there, but you know what I mean.
I am not there, but I do spend a lot of time there.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was 30 one day.
I was 30 for about 9 years.
I thought you were both 30 right now.
Oh, thank you.
What a charmer.
Yeah, a charmer. Yeah.
No, but I'm genuinely surprised.
But yeah, we're old. It's interesting that you say that. Yeah, you're right. Every experience is different from whenever you experience it to maybe reflecting on it. Would you kind of agree with that? Like sort of like the way that you felt about it now compared to then, you were opening old wounds, but it was sort of a different mentality towards it, would you say? Obviously being 7 is a different thing, but you know what I mean?
Yes, I 100% agree with you. I think the way like as a songwriter, I can approach writing comes with experience, and because I wasn't as experienced when writing all these songs, it was much more difficult for me to phrase everything than it is now, and I'm much more accustomed to like opening wounds now than I was back then. So it was kind of like, you know, finding out that you could do a new trick. Like, you know those people who could like fart with their armpits? Imagine finding out that you can do that. That's like finding out that you could write songs about difficult events. That's a crazy comparison. You caught me at a good time because my mind is working wonders. But that's basically how it is. You find out that you can do something, that you can make art out of something that you'd never be able to make art out of. Like you could make fart out of something you could never be able to make fart out of, and just I can't believe I said that on a live.
That's enlightening. That's enlightening stuff right there. No, I'm just kidding. It was a great experience for me when I found out I could do that.
Yes,
sure. I mean,
it was very entertaining.
I mean, I was probably 7, maybe earlier.
Around that age, yeah.
Never learned how to do that.
And then it goes away, and then you just reminded us, and now I want to do it.
Well, we'll do it later.
Do it later. I don't know why I thought about that. I haven't thought about
it. Listen, that was actually a very good answer because it's like it's a comparable experience for sure. It's it is your experience, so that's great. I love that.
Yeah, I guess. I'm glad that I had an analogy to kind of help you out with that, because sometimes I'm stuck thinking, oh, how do I explain this? And I sometimes pull an analogy out of nowhere, and fabulous. that was it.
It's fabulous.
Thank you.
Farts from the heart.
Oh, bro.
Come on.
You know it. Art from the heart.
Art from the heart. So do you think with your, now I'm going to forget the word, your archive. So when you go archive.
You're good.
Your anchovies.
My anchovies.
Yeah. When you go back, like say in about, a few years from now, you've got your core songs in that archive. You pull one out. Yeah, this is the time to do this one. Are you going to revisit the lyrics, maybe spice them up a little bit, or just, this is good like this, and just put it out there?
Yes, and I will revisit the lyrics and change them up a bit, and I actually did that this year. Little surprise. I also spent 2 days in the studio this summer in Mississauga at Classic Avenue Studios recording my first EP, which I haven't announced, but we're on an interview. I can say anything about this.
It's your interview.
I took 3 songs. I'm not going to tell you the first 2 of their names, But the third song is a song called In the Darkness. And that song I wrote when I was 13. I wrote it way before I wrote any of the songs on the album I listened to, or around the same time. Probably around the same time as one or two of them. But otherwise, it's a pretty old song in my mind, because I wrote it early on. And I wrote it about getting lost in a staircase in a building that I wasn't familiar with downtown in Montreal late at nights when I was like 13 at a party where I didn't really know many people, but I went because I kind of felt bad if I didn't go. And I could have put myself in big danger, but I wrote a song about it. I ended up, when my dad picked me up, because I was a little baby here, I had no clue like what danger I could have put myself in, and I'd never seen him so mad at me, and I was so shaken up by it. I wrote a song about being naive and about putting myself at risk of getting hurt, which is literally the lyrics. And I never did anything with it because it's too dark, it's too long, it's a 5-minute long song, I'm not gonna put it on the album. And I didn't put it on the album. But when we were revisiting what songs to put on this EP, I had a song in mind, and then decided that it wasn't it, and I realized, wait, hold on, let me play this to my producers. And I played it to my producers, and they said, we're going to do that song. And so we took this grungy guitar song that I wrote in the very beginning of my songwriting career and made it into a folk song, folk rock alternative song with Afro beats in the background.
Very cool.
It's really cool. Like there, you got a bongo drum there, so it's based off, like, the drum pattern is based on Afro beats, and it's super vibey. It's like I want to hum along to it. I want to sing it right now, but I can't. So I'm very excited about it, and you'll probably hear it at the end of the year.
I'm loving that.
Cool.
Yeah. I like Afro beats.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Do you find working with producers and the like, do you find that sometimes, because you're young, you take all the advice that they give you and take it all in and say, okay, I like that, I don't like this, I like this? Or are you more, yeah, that's a great idea? You know what I mean?
More, that's a great idea, because I hate to say it, but I don't hate to say it. I don't hate to say it. I just have a lot of respect for people who know more about this than I do, and I usually end up regretting when I say, no, I want it this way, I want it that way. And I usually think like, oh, I should have listened to whoever told me to do it differently. Sometimes, however, when I know that something has to sound a certain way, and I know for a fact that that's what I want, I'll put my foot down on that. But otherwise, I'm very open to producers putting in their ideas of how to record it, how to make it sound. Like, for example, when I was recording this album, The Next Big Invention, which I'm so glad I listened to what Mark told me to do while recording. I was originally singing it really loudly because I barely had any experience in the studio. I had no recording experience. And at the time, I was a big belter. I like to belt everything I do. And Mark taught me to sing it softly. So you got songs on that album that I never thought I'd be singing softly, that now I can only hear as soft songs, because that's what happens when you hear your recordings over and over again. But I'm so glad that I sang it softly and didn't scream it into the microphone after Mark told me not to.
That's cool. That is a good question, because it kind of, I always am interested to hear if you close-minded or you're open-minded, which I think being open-minded actually benefited you and probably benefits everyone when they have somebody that's a professional to be able to push them in a different direction than they'd ever thought they would go, right?
Yeah, I agree. You got to keep an open mind, but at the same time, like, don't float around. Don't let people take complete control over your music, but also keep an open mind.
Yeah. So going on that, this is a completely different question. Yeah.
But going on that.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to mess around. The question I have is interesting. So say you just robbed a bank. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And you're in the getaway car.
Okay.
And you're driving fast away. What song is playing while you're driving away?
Can it be one of mine?
Of course.
That In the Darkness song that I just told you about.
All right.
That's exactly why I wrote the song. And funny you say that. Like, I associate that recording that we made in the summer that I'm going to put out this year with driving away from like a tragedy. That's just the way it should be. But if it wasn't my song, it'd be Bellyache by Billie Eilish.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah.
You?
Oh, we're changing it up this time. I'm going to go with, I'm going to floor you, man. I'm going to say Sabotage by the Beastie Boys.
Classic.
Yeah.
I'm a big Beastie Boys fan.
That's why I said
I'll
Boys are cool.
I'll go Kashmir by Led Zeppelin.
Oh.
You're not driving away fast. Ding, 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 ding. Like, come on, like that beat.
Okay, Misty Mountain Hop.
Maybe a little bit better.
What about Whole Lotta Love?
There you go. That's a little bit more of a jam.
Yeah.
I sang that at my last gig. It was fun.
Oh, you have a great voice for that, actually.
Thank you.
Because he has that like next level of heightened sound. So you would nail that for sure.
I appreciate it. I've covered it before. It's up online, but it's simple. It's just me sitting down with my guitar. But I should really like do a solid real cover of that song. I love that riff.
Yeah. Oh, that's Led Zeppelin is a little before your time. So I'd love to hear that you like that. But I guess the thing about that music, it transcends, right? Like it's out there forever, and it's just the best. Same as what you're putting out. Like this music will always be there, right? So it's cool because you'll look back and be like, man, I was going through some stuff back then, but now I'm, it's a different portion of your life, right? Another chapter. Yeah. I usually say Long Cool Woman in a Black Dress. That's a good one too, the Drive Away With, but we'll switch it up.
I actually don't know that one. I'm gonna have
That's a group. They're called the Hollies. They're a band out of England. Around the same time as Led Zeppelin. Not as big, but they had a couple of really good tunes. That's a good one, and Bus Stop is another really good one by them.
Yeah.
Have you heard of a band called the Sundays?
Yep.
Oh.
Okay, they're great. They're also like, I think they're from England, also based in the late 70s, but they were like, they sound like they're 90s, but they started in the 70s, and they're from England. There's one song that I especially love from them. It's called You're Not the Only One I Know. It's the only thing I listened to for like a solid 2 months last year. It's a great song.
And how did you find them?
I think I found them off TikTok.
Of course.
I don't know. Honestly, you find good stuff from there. I found a lot of good songs off of TikTok, but like not Here's the thing with TikTok: if you're gonna steal someone's phone, everything that you're gonna see is completely different from what you're gonna see because your phone listens to you. So if I talk about Jeff Buckley, because I love Jeff Buckley, I got a Jeff Buckley poster up there. My phone is listening to me talk about Jeff Buckley. They're going to recommend me stuff that sounds like Jeff Buckley. And the Sundays kind of fits in his vibe. So I had people, I don't know, wearing super cool outfits, dancing around to that song that only had like 150 videos to it. I was like, what is this? It's magic. I love it. I'm going to tell everybody about it.
I love that. It's true.
Yeah.
I actually like Spotify for that too, because it sort of recommends things that are in your wheelhouse, but then you don't know them as well. So I just added the Sundays, so now I'm going to listen to that on the way home. But
enjoy it.
Being a Jeff Buckley fan and being from Montreal, who sang the best version of Hallelujah?
Here's the thing. I personally like Leonard Cohen's version a lot. I thought you were going to say better. I think you thought I was going to say better. But I do like Jeff Buckley's Hallelujah a lot because he just makes anything sound great. But at the same time, it's my least favorite track of the Grace album because there's so much. He has so many better tracks on that album. Hallelujah is incredible, don't get me wrong, but his original stuff is incredible, beyond incredible.
Oh, yeah,
so
Buckley's great.
I would put it at a tie. They're both very, very good songs, but there's something about the original that's just like, they're kind of like two different songs.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
So
Even Katie Lang's version is actually a lot different.
Katie Lang's version is incredible. I forgot about that one. I remember seeing it for the first time. My friend's grandmother was like, "Do you know who Katie Lang is?" And I said, "Katy Perry." And she showed me that video, and I was just in awe. Her voice is incredible. Yeah, that rendition is just beyond good. So I don't really know how I'd rank them. They're just all good. They're all better than good. But yeah, Hallelujah is just a timeless song.
Yeah, there's a lot of different versions to that song too. Like if you bring it up on Spotify, there's the 3 big ones, but I think Pentatonics did it as well.
Did they really? I wouldn't be surprised.
I believe they did, and they're with their style, it's actually quite good. But yeah, so you're an old soul. Led Zeppelin, Jeff Buckley, the Sundays. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's funny that you say that. That EP that I recorded this summer is going to be called "Old at Soul and Young at Heart."
Look at me, huh? I'm like,
you're on the same.
That was for one time.
Same archive.
You know what? I actually don't mind you saying that. I love it. I'm gonna keep saying it because if Dawg and Gus approve, then I just got to keep saying it.
We don't have enough pull.
Yeah, we do. Sure, we do. Don't you go get negative on us when you're making her think positively.
No negativity here, and this is coming from like a pessimist. I know you would guess it because I'm all giddy and bubbly right now, but I'm always like, it's the end of the world. That's why I write these songs. But yeah, no, positivity is great.
Hope is the key.
Hope is the key.
It is the key. Is there when you start to tour more, is there a iconic building or place that you would love to play a show?
My dream is to play Tellus here in Montreal because I'm there all the time. I'm a big concert goer. I love concerts. Everyone has their teenage thing. Usually it's parties or, I don't know, urbexing. That's the thing now. My thing is concerts. That's my obsession. Like, I feed on concerts, and I've been to so many concerts there. I have great memories there. I've been in the front row twice so far of 2 concerts, at 3 concerts, but one was at another venue. But I just love Tellus, and it would be a huge turnaround if I went from someone who was watching to someone who was playing there. So that's that. Also, Madison Square Garden, that's huge. I know that's kind of like high up, but that is a dream. Dreams can be dreams. And otherwise, I can't think of any venues off the top of my head, but I just think of cities.
Yeah, those are 2 good ones, for sure. So going on that, like if you had a 5-year plan and everything went came to fruition, you turned 20, I guess 24 or whatever it is, and 5 years from now, where do you want to be? Where do you visualize yourself?
Where do I want to be and where do I think I'm going to be, I think are 2 different answers. I'm going to push away that where do I think I'm going to be?
Yeah,
where do I want to be? I want to be touring. I want to be an established artist. I want people to not look at me as a singer or a musician. I want people to see me as an artist. And I want to feel like an artist. I want to live, breathe, and eat artistry. And I want to keep on doing interviews like this. In person would be awesome. I want to keep on releasing. I just want to live, breathe, and eat music. I want to play more music. I want to play bigger shows. I want to have multiple established bands. Touring would be a huge highlight. And I want to be an artist. I know I am an artist, but I want to be an artist, not an artist right now.
You get that?
Yep.
Okay.
I love it too.
And just to go off on that tangent of touring, who would you like to tour with?
There's a lot of small artists.
No, sorry.
Billie Eilish is obviously, yeah.
No, we're not talking. Okay, I got to take these off the table. Take off Billie Eilish off the table and take Katy Perry off the table.
Grace VanderWaal.
There you go. That was very quick. See how quick that was?
Grace VanderWaal? Is that what I heard?
Grace VanderWaal.
Nice.
That's how I picked up the ukulele. That's how I picked up writing songs too, because I started doing it, then I gave up, then I saw a little pipsqueak with a ukulele on America's Got Talent and was like, I could do this too. So I got back into it. So she's great. She's awesome. Who else? There's so many different artists that I'd love to tour with. Peach Pit, they're a great band. I just saw them. They were the first real established artists who saw my videos online and actually commented. During the pandemic, I covered Alrighty Aphrodite, one of their big songs. They're actually from Vancouver, so throwing some Canada in there again. And they saw it and they commented on it. And then I posted another cover of their songs and they saw it and commented on it again. And it was a huge highlight for me because at the moment I was a little fangirl. The fangirl was still inside of me. Now it's still there, but it's also like I see people as artists because I understand the struggle because I also play shows. I also do that even though I'm smaller. So I get it. But back then, it was just a huge thing. Oh my god, Peach Pit liked and commented on my video. I'm so excited. And yeah, it would be a huge what's the word for it? When you turn something around. Trying to dig that word out. Turn up. My brain isn't braining, but you know what I mean. It would be huge if I could.
Full circle, maybe?
Full circle moment. That's what I was looking for. Yeah. It would be a full circle moment if I can open for them. There's also Noah Khan. I've seen him live twice, and I got into his music also deep during the pandemic, and that would also be a full circle moment because
you should DM them and say I'm looking to open for you guys.
Yep.
I think I have a few years ago. And I don't think they sounded very much like how I would want them to sound now, which is kind of why I'm glad that I grew up with a monitored Instagram page because, you know, when you're 12, 14, you think that your writing is amazing when you're using these abbreviations and it just doesn't sound right, you know?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yep.
Monitored. Instagram's coming my way eventually.
Yeah, you're gonna have that soon for sure.
I think we all need someone to monitor our Instagrams. Honestly, any page on social media because it can get out of hand. It does get out of hand.
Totally.
Yep. So, what do you think about the scene in Montreal musically? Because we've talked to a few bands and artists from Montreal that are just killing it.
The Montreal music scene is huge. I don't think people realize how big our scene here in Montreal is. I do have to say, the punk scene here, and I know I'm not a punk artist, but the punk scene here is awesome. There's so many underground punk bands, and I love to see it. I love hearing about it. I've got some friends that are in punk bands, and they're doing great. And there's also so many singer-songwriters like myself here. And there's like a community of us. It's amazing. Like you got places like Mariposa that just unite all of these people who do the same thing. And I've always felt, especially by the West Island, which you mentioned, I've always felt so supported by the West Island, which is funny because I don't reside in the West Island, but I've always felt extra support from people in the West Island. From the mayors in the West Island, Errol Johnson, Tim Thomas, just everybody, really, Jim Bass. It's just so, it's a good kind of overwhelming.
Yeah, like that's cool. Yeah, I think Montreal's scene is definitely
well, like I said, we've
diverse.
Yeah, yes. So are we here in Ottawa. We're just, it's the same. We've got some. Yeah, we've got some amazing artists here in Ottawa as well that are going to break through the ceiling soon, very soon. But I mean, we've interviewed a few Montreal bands, and they're just kicking it. So it's fun to see. Yeah. And Ottawa is on their way because we have a few artists that I can see breaking that glass ceiling here.
Yeah, totally.
Especially, I'll tell you one, Elizabeth Royale.
Yep,
she's a friend of mine. We have the same vocal coach, Michelle Tracy, who's actually from Ottawa originally. So I love the scene here here. There in Ottawa. It feels like you're so close to me. Ottawa's like a hop, skip, and a jump away. You're not that far.
Nope.
Compared to Cape Breton and all that, you're practically my neighbor. I played a show once in Ottawa. I just love the environment there. I played at a bagel shop. It was super sweet.
Oh, the one down on Richmond Road?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's where it was.
Ottawa Bagel Shop?
Ottawa Bagel Shop, yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
On a Sunday, or what was the other day? They did them 2 days a week.
It was a Sunday.
Very cool. Yeah, we're going to have Elizabeth on the show real soon.
You should. She's great.
Oh, we've already got her locked in.
She's booked.
She's booked in.
That's awesome.
How do you deal with creative blocks or performance anxiety? Does that ever come up?
So performance anxiety is not something that's very common for me, which is ironic because I actually qualify for an anxiety diagnosis. I'm a very anxious person, but what takes the anxiety away from me is performing. That's what I find calming. But what do you call it? Writer's block is a huge thing for me too. I go through periods where I just can't write at all. And I think I used to say that experience is what helps with writer's block, but I honestly think the best thing to do to get going again is to just let it happen when it wants to happen. If it's not happening, don't force it, because you're not going to get what you want to get out of it. I recently injured my wrist and couldn't play guitar for a month and a half, and it was so annoying, as you could probably imagine. And right before that time, I had an intense period of writer's block. And as soon as I picked up that guitar again after my wrist was much better, I can play again. Not as like much as I used to, but I can play as well as I used to, and I'm back into the whole guitar thing. But as soon as I picked up a guitar again, I had an urge to write, and out came one of the songs that I would say I'm the proudest of, and it seems to be connecting with people. So I've sang it multiple times and posted it just for the fun of it. I'll record it eventually, but as soon as I wrote that song, which came right away, I've written maybe 10 others, and I've written for other people too. So it really comes in waves. And I haven't been writing like this since I was 14, since I wrote this album. So it's okay to take breaks. It doesn't make you any less of a songwriter. If I had to give advice on this, I wouldn't say, oh, do this, do that, so you can write more. I would say, just save everything and say you just wrote it. I mean, I don't do that, but I don't say that I just wrote something when I didn't just write something, but I do save everything. And it's a great reminder that even though I'm not in the right mindset to do something, this is still something I created. It's still something from me, and it doesn't make me any less of an artist or a writer to take a break, which I need to tell myself more often.
Yeah. I think actually sort of walking away from something, and it doesn't always have to be music. Sometimes that actually refreshes you and you come back a little bit more focused, I would say. But that's just me. I find when I'm having a problem with anything, it's usually best to just walk away from it and then come back to it later, just because you get go back out to nature or something like that, and then just sort of get your juices flowing again, because sometimes you can block your brain a bit, you know?
We all need to touch some grass.
That's right. Yeah, totally. I'm a nature dude. I'm down with that. I just have to put my phone down, and I have to I'm going in my garden, or I'm tripping out over in my backyard somewhere or something. I got to do something. So that's me.
No, it's good. It's good to not force stuff, because if you're not happy with the finished product after you forced it out of you, it's just like, well, why did I do that? It's, and it's, again, I'm going to say a great perspective for somebody your age, to have that understanding, right?
And that'll only grow.
Yeah, seriously. So. And as you mature more and become a better and better songwriter, because you will.
Yeah, we're not downplaying your age, by the way.
No, we're not at all. I mean, God, we've interviewed some people that are just.
Yeah, well, Sierra Levesque was young too, and we were just sort of
still is.
Yeah, true. And she's crushing it. She played the Riot House, and she's a very talented guitarist, ridiculously.
And we've interviewed people. Sierra Levesque, she's out of Pembroke.
Look her up. Like
cool, I will.
She's rocking, man.
And then, the space between, they're all in their early 20s and they're just amazing. Like these people that we talk to, and it blows me away because at 21, I didn't know what I was doing with my life. And it's just amazing that you've got this super focus that it's amazing to me.
It's refreshing.
Yes, very, very.
Because a lot of people go through life not knowing what their purpose is, but you guys have that purpose and you have that outlet that you need to get out. So it's awesome. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Well, listen, like I'm human. I'm still figuring out who I am and what I want to do, and I'm still figuring out.
That won't go away. That will not go away. Just so you know, that's never going away. Sorry to cut you off, but I had to get that.
I'm always questioning what I'm doing with my life, and one thing I know is that I'll always have music as an outlet, and that I'll always want to make music. It may be in different forms, but that's one thing I know for sure. But I'm figuring myself out just as much as anyone else is. And I don't consider myself to be different from anybody else in that way.
No, just more talented. That's all.
I have a hard time seeing myself as that too. Sometimes I like.
Okay, you put an LP out and you're 18 years old. I think you're ahead of your. You can give yourself some props. You're in a safe space.
I appreciate it. At the same time, like I still can't believe it. It's hard for me to process. Like, it's hard for me to get into that realization that like, wow, I did this, because sometimes I'll be doing something and I'm gonna think I'm so bad at it, and then I'll remember that I've done that. But it won't really raise my spirits that much because I'll still feel like, wow, I can't do this. I don't have this and I don't have that, but I get lost in the music and it feels good. It doesn't matter what I've done as long as I'm happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah. Let me ask you this.
Should be on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Did you make any physical copies of the LP?
I'm working on it. I'm in the process of getting CDs done. Actually, between you and I, honestly, one of the only reasons why I released it is for that UPC code, so I can sell them as albums, because most of my audience right now has been begging me for CDs, and I need to come through with those CDs. So I'm in process of designing them. It's almost done. I'm halfway through. And then I'll have CDs. I'll sell them at my shows, and I always dreamed of having my music on vinyls because I love listening to vinyls, but I will not be ordering those yet, even though I know how to and who to do it through. I won't be ordering them yet because not enough people listen to my music, and why would I buy 100 vinyls if I don't have 100 monthly listeners even? So I'm waiting. It's gonna happen, but first off, I need the finances too.
They're expensive.
Musician salary. Second off, I need the listeners, so it'll come. CDs first, though.
Yeah, the reason I ask is that because when you have a physical copy, then you can say, "Look what I've done."
Yeah.
And you've got that physical copy that says, "I did this, and I was 18 when I did it." You know what I mean? And if the albums will come, if I wouldn't worry about that. But it's just fun to have that tangible thing in your hand to go, "Yep, I did this."
Yeah,
that's
true.
It feels great.
Mm-hmm.
I miss tangible music.
Yeah, we're big fans of CDs and LPs.
Yeah,
vinyl. We're very big fans of it.
Because of our age.
Well, me for sure. Yeah.
It has nothing to do with your age. It's the quality and it's the memories behind it. I still think like putting a CD into a car and driving with it is great, and having it on loop is great. It could be a little complicated depending on like the car that you're in, plugging in whatever music you want, unless you like listening to not talk shows, just spoken word news like my parents on the radio in the car. But I just love listening to CDs when I'm driving with other people because I don't have a license yet. But in my room, I've got a vinyl player, and I have a few vinyls. I have a Jeff Buckley vinyl that I bought with my own money that I made, which is super, super cool. I have a Krista Berg vinyl that I picked up at a thrift store for $3. And I have a Billie Eilish vinyl that I got as a gift for my birthday.
And the Christaberg, does it have Spanish Trains and Other Stories on it?
It does not. It's an older one. That's probably why they were selling it for $3, because nobody really the name isn't that familiar anymore, unfortunately.
What's the name of the album?
I can't remember. I don't even think it says the name of it because it's kind of beat up, but it's just so pretty to listen to.
That's cool. Beat up vinyl is kind of cool.
Exactly. It's
Christaberg he was the bomb for a long time, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's all fun and games till the vinyl falls out of the pouch.
Oh,
it's a bad day. Don't leave in your car either.
And don't lay them down. We got all these rules for the vinyl. Yeah, have them standing up straight.
Get a brush. You got to do
that. I had to learn that the hard way.
Yeah, no doubt. It's
well, at least you know what a vinyl is.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
we all know what vinyls are. It's not that
back. It's back.
Yeah, no, it's back. We all love vinyls. I'm telling you. Like if we aren't listening to them, we have them hung up on our walls.
Yeah, that's
sacrilege.
Yeah, you'd be okay, Dawg.
No,
just let it happen. Okay.
No, I'm not letting it happen. I'm not putting any vinyl on my walls.
That's fair. Okay,
that's a thing. People do
that. we asked everyone the same question.
Yes.
It's we don't know how this is going to go, but it's very interested. 2 decades of music that we discuss because everybody has their own decade that they love, but we personally have the 80s and the 90s as decades of music. Is there one that stands out for you?
The 90s. The 90s, 100%. There's so much good stuff to come out of the 90s. There's just so many artists, like specifically Jeff Buckley and Fiona Apple. People like that, and bands like the Sundays, and like 90s R&B is also really good. It's just that era. What am I talking about? Nirvana, like grunge was the 90s. Nirvana, Soundgarden. There's just so much in the 90s
yes,
that influences me as an artist. But at the same time, like when growing up in the 2010s, like that's a huge decade for me too. So mix that together.
2010s.
You got my influences.
Yeah, that's awesome. 2010s.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to add that at some point.
Well, we'll be 90.
Well, what do you feel about the 2000s for music?
2000s, 2010s.
Yeah.
I actually prefer
my
the
medication?
2010s to the 2000s, which is, I don't know, a little ironic because I was born in the 2000s. But it's, you know what, the pop is good, but at the same time, I just the vibe is more there in like the late 2000s. Like 2018 was a peak year for music. 2017, 2018.
1991.
1994 was, I think, the year that Grace came out.
Yeah.
So 1994.
94, Grace. Well, was the other album that I think Super Unknown came out in 94, which was the one with Black Hole Sun and Fell on Black Days. Like that's one of my favorite songs ever by Soundgarden is Fell on Black Days. You want to talk about like that was kind of a premise to Cornell, really. I mean, he was going through some dark shit and
what a voice. It's a tragedy what happened.
Yeah.
But he left. That's the thing about music. You never truly die when you're a musician. And I know it sounds kind of corny when I say it, but hey, I'm talking about a random dude named Jeff Buckley who had a very tragic life, but left behind an entire repertoire and music for everyone to love and listen to. So
it's very
still here.
Very true. Art never dies. I mean, there's still art that's out there that's hundreds of years old that people listen to or look at or read or go through. Right. So there's poetry out there that's wonderful and
true story.
I posted some nice Hunter S. Thompson this week. Actually, I was like reading some of his books. So he was enlightened, especially with the way the climate is with the United States, and how they're going through a bit of a challenge with politically and obviously, everything. But his description of the late 1960s, how the music intertwined with the political atmosphere, and the way he words it is just beautiful stuff. It's called The Wave. You can check out that little piece.
I do have to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 60s and 70s were very, very intertwined with what the era was. The 80s too, but the 60s and 70s was kind of like turn of events. They're like, think of the 1950s versus the 1970s, and you got a whole different world.
Totally. Women could vote.
Yeah.
Black people could vote. Yeah, there's a lot of it's crazy. You're right. It doesn't take a long time. It just has to get the right people to do it, and that's how it worked out. So
people were recognized as people in the 70s.
It's true. Very true.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. And we look forward to seeing that EP in the summer. You said maybe summer-ish?
We'll put it late fall. We'll put it there because I just put an album out. I want to bask.
Days ago,
guys. Go check out that album. It's beautiful. It's a great compilation of Rachel Dara's little life over there. So it's beautiful stuff. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to watching you grow. And hopefully, if you come to Ottawa, we can catch you.
Thank you for having me, and I'll be in Ottawa sometime soon.
Yes,
I'll let you know when I am. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah,
it was a pleasure.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Dawg and Gus, Dawg and Gus, Dawg and Gus.